on your palm and it cooks. Some people have narrated that they simply wash their clothes, wriggle it a little, and flap it this way. You wear your clothes and off you go to a wedding ceremony. It gets dry. You don't need a line upon which you hang your clothes. Just dip it into the water. Make sure you wash it squeaky clean. That's the way you do it. And even if it's a suit, you go wherever you want to go with it. Meaning that the sun is hot. The sun that could treat your clothes like this. Imagine what's damage. Imagine the amount of damage it could be causing your body, your skin. It means it's going to soak up whatever liquid you have left in you, possibly your blood. Now you see how the poet says that sometimes too hot the eye of the heaven shine. Even in this part of the world, that is not enough. Sometimes you feel the hotness, the scorching heat of the sun. Sometimes it even keeps you inside. And so the poet is dragging attention to some of the unpalatable nature of what we consider very important to us. The seasons, the sun, the moon. Now the focus is on the sun. He says that sometimes the sun shines too hot. And often it is gold complexion dimmed. And of course, the sun does not last forever. The sun comes in the morning, or in the afternoon rather. At about 4, 5, 6, it goes off. That is what the poet means by often it is gold complexion dimmed. That is sometimes when the gold complexion of the sun dims, as it were, it means that the moon takes over, or night takes over. Which means both the season and of course the heavenly bodies, that's the sun in this case, are all ephemeral. They are passing. They are not lasting. They are not everlasting. They are here now and no more in a little while. So you see the sun in the during the day. Okay, when the night creeps in, the sun disappears, and that is what the poet means by and often it is gold complexion dimmed. The gold complexion of the sun dims. And every fair from fair sometimes declines. Everything that is beautiful definitely will shed off its beauty with the passage of time. Anything that comes in contact with time does not remain the same. As time continues to for every tick the clock makes, some will say, would move a step into our grave. And so for every tick of the sun, of the clock, the sun is closer to giving way for the moon. And so it's just the same way for every tick the clock makes, the season, that's the summer season, which is almost a perfect season, gives way for other very horrible seasons. And so these things are not lasting, the poet says. And by chance or by nature's changing course on tune, which means everything declines in their being. Every beautiful thing, every wonderful thing loses its wonderfulness, loses its beauty with the passage of time. But thy eternal beauty shall not fade. And that is the point where we are. For all of these things that fade, the poet now says, but thy eternal beauty shall not fade. That is the beauty of his lover shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. Even though the sun and the moon and the seasons are here and are here today and not here tomorrow, even though they're ephemeral, they fade away, that the beauty of the lover shall never fade. It shall not lose possession of its fairness. Fairness is referred to as beauty, of its durability. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in its shade. And that is personification. Death has been personified here. That death would never one day see the lover of the poet persona coming into its shade. And death says, here you are. You are dead. You are now under my custody. That is never going to happen to his lover. That death will never even see the lover, let alone brag about the death of the lover. When in eternal lines to time thou growest, the poet has actually made it clear that he has immortalized this lover of his in the lines of his poem, so that for every day this poem is read, the thoughts of this lover comes to the head of the reader, which means that the lover is eternally alive. The lover is everlasting. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. This we are referring is the poem. This poem is one of the many poems that Shakespeare wrote. And like we said from the beginning, this is the 18th sonnet. Shakespeare had started this sonnet from one, where he argues that this lover of his should reproduce himself, should make a photocopy of himself, so that when he dies, he would have a progeny to protect or to continue to live after him. But Shakespeare gets to sonnet 17 and begins to wonder that by procreating, that procreation rather, is not the only means of immortalizing. That there is another means to immortalize oneself. That one may remain single and even die single, yet the person's memory would not be forgotten. And Shakespeare realizes that one way to do so is by putting down the person's inner beauty, accomplishments into writing. And so Shakespeare puts the beauty of the lover in question into writing. And so, for each time this poem is read, the beauty is alive. Sorry, the lover is alive. Each time we remember this poem, we remember the lover. So, the poet, that's Shakespeare, comes to realization that beyond procreation, man can still immortalize himself, or man can be immortalized by another person, and that is what we see in this poem. It is quite noteworthy that Shakespeare has used his here. His gold complexion, his shade, okay, that's for death. Okay, he uses this masculine gender for death, and of course the masculine gender for the complexion of the sun. And some have argued that with the use of this masculine gender, that Shakespeare is sexist, or that Shakespeare has no regard for women. Why did Shakespeare not say her gold complexion? Why is the sun not a she? Why is the sun a he? Why is death a he, and why is death not a she? Don't forget that both death and the sun wield great power. Some will say that when death approaches, nothing else happens. If death is coming, it comes. You cannot avert it except sickness. Some have even argued that each time you take a tablet of, say, Fensic, you're only bribing death. Death, wait a little while, I don't want to die right now. And so you bribe death. You just give death, you lobby death to allow you. After a little while, 70, 80, say you are so old like Methuselah at the age of 200, you die. You definitely will die. No one is going to live up to Methuselah or up to Adam for 930 years. It's not possible. And so Shakespeare says that death has strong power, and such strong power can only be associated to the man and not to the woman. And even the sun too. We know we've described the sun, sometimes very scorching, that people squirrel into their house. And so Shakespeare said that sun too is a man. So all of these wonderful, very strong natural phenomena, Shakespeare insists that it can never be women. And so some women can read this poem, or some ladies could read this poem and conclude that indeed Shakespeare has insulted them by not including a her in one of these things. Those ones are left to be argued. But the important thing in this poem is that the poet uses this poem to praise his lover. And now some have argued, this lover we are referring to, is this lover a male lover or a female lover? Are we referring to a male or a female? Well, the poem does not help us to arrive at the gender of this lover in question. But there are indications that the lover in question could be a male lover. If you have read the preceding sonnets before, the sonnet 18, that too is a controversial issue. That is not what we are interested in. We are rather interested in the fact that this is a sonnet, and that this sonnet is a sonnet used to praise one's lover. And we have realized that it is written in 14 lines of ABBA, CDCD, EFEF, and GG, which is the rhyme scheme, which is part of the structure of the poem. Shall we now quickly talk about the theme of this poem? We shall be talking about two themes, although we have scratched the surface of these themes. Don't forget that I said that the theme of any work of art has got to do with the lesson, the import. What you get out of a piece of work of art is referred to as a theme. In this case, we're going to be talking about the immortality of life. Shakespeare, in this poem, tries to tell us that life can be immortalized, or rather, somebody, a human being, a living thing can be immortalized. How? By simply writing about the person, which means Shakespeare recognizes the power of the pen and paper. And so, Shakespeare immortalizes this lover of his in this poem. And of course, Shakespeare makes it clear that so long as man can live and breathe and see, so long as this poem is alive, so long as we are breathing, this poem will be alive. So long as this poem is alive, the lover in question is equally alive. The second theme, which of course takes from the first theme, is celebration of true love. Shakespeare in this poem expresses unconditional, undying love for the lover in this poem. The lover be the male lover or a female lover. You can see the beautiful words. You can see that he praises this lover to high heaven, to have said that the lover even outlives nature, that the lover outlives things that are seen as eternal. Shakespeare says that those things that are eternal are indeed not eternal. That is even the mortal man that is immortal. So Shakespeare makes immortality out of mortality and reduces immortality to mortality. And that is what you will regard as breaking the norm, breaking the tradition. That is it for the theme of the poem. We have one word that talked about the form. It is written in 14 lines and it is rhymed in this manner. Don't forget. And the last 2 lines are rhymed GG. The language of the poem, well, it is not so difficult. Of course, even though it is written in Old English, or what you refer to as the Shakespearean English, it is really not, the language is a little domestic, not so wild or difficult for an average student to decipher. Talking about the imagery, well, you see the image of nature, words like rough wind, words like summer's day, words like heaven, gold complexion, untrimmed. These words actually are paint picture in our hearts, word pictures. And so it evokes the image of the weather condition. Okay, and Shakespeare uses this to actually enhance the beauty of this poem. We have talked about some literary devices like rhetorical question. We have equally talked about personification, which we define as giving human qualities to inanimate thing. We talked about the regular rhyme scheme there. We talked about rough wind do shake the darling buds of May. If rough winds shake, that is personification. It means that the verb shake, which is a human action, has been given to the wind. To the wind now does shake. It means the wind has been personified. What other figure of speech can we get from these other poetic devices? I think that will be it for now. So long lives this, and this gives life to this. We can see this the reoccurring here. This and this and the, okay, and that is what we refer to as alliteration. That is repetition of consonant sound. In the consonant sounds, repeating here, 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 and here. That is consonant alliteration. And of course, when we talk about alliteration, together with the rhyme scheme, they all come together to strengthen the musicality of a piece of poem. That will be it for the poetry class. I am sure you've enjoyed the analysis of Shakespeare's Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day? It's a beautiful piece of poem. This is not going to be the only poem you are going to be battling with in your examination. There are a whole lot of poems there. You have The Anvil and the Hammer. You have Vanity. You have Piano and Drum. You have a whole lot of them, both African poems and non-African poems. I'm sure by the time you begin to read those poems, you should be able to look at them beyond the surface. Because for every poem, there is 2 layers. The first layer is the literal layer, and then the other layer is the one we refer to as the metaphorical layer. So you should learn how to look at a poem beyond the surface, and that is why you are a literature student.